Kentucky News, October 10th. So just recently you have Detective Chauncey Carthan of the LMPD who had to go into court after he was indicted in connection to a shooting last year. It happened when he was off duty. He had appeared before a judge on Tuesday on charges of a DUI. He was drunk, wanton endangerment, pulls out a pistol, right? It's a felony, wanton endangerment, and official misconduct. Detective Chauncey Carthan is accused of shooting Ishmael Gow near the intersection of 24th and Chestnut last September. Police said Carthan had followed Gow, was followed by Gow. That's what the police are alleging. Gow was following him for several blocks before both men pulled to the side of the road and got out of their cars. Gow said Carthan, who was in plain clothes in an unmarked car, already had his gun drawn. Police said Carthan identified himself as an officer, but Gow did not comply, and that's when Carthan shot Gow. So, you know, he says he's being followed, and he jumps out and he pulls out a pistol, and he says, "I'm the police." And he said he didn't comply, so he didn't do as he said. "I'm the police, get down on the ground." Pow, pow. All while he was off duty, okay? So this all sounds like bullshit. He's still employed by the Louisville Metro Police, and he's doing administrative work. So they got him on a desk job, right? So he's still getting paid. He's still getting his money. He shot some random dude. Probably, I'm guessing, it's a road rage thing. They driving on the road. Someone cuts somebody off, and then they just battling back and forth, man. I've seen people act so crazy out here. There's somebody, you know, cut them off. I've seen people like run in front of somebody and just break and just make them stop and just act all crazy. So road rage gets the better of people, you know, and so I see road rage happening. I don't know if dude was being followed, right? Everybody's following everybody. I don't know how much a person can be followed, you know, if you're just driving around. But you could be tailgating, okay? And if you're tailgating, that I don't like tailgating. I don't like people who tailgate me. And so if you're being tailgated for a long time, you know, that feels like a bully. It feels oppressive. Sometimes it's either a leech or it's a bully, okay? Sometimes folks just don't want to think about driving, so they just kind of follow someone else's bumper. But most of the time, I would say it's a bully just trying to push you. I want to go fast. I want to go where I want to go. You get out of my way, or I'm just going to ride on your bumper the whole time, and you ain't going to do nothing about it. Unless you ease on the brake, and then you force them to stop, right? You have to brake them in order for them to stop. So, you know, if that's true, but the cops are notorious for lying. Who knows? I haven't heard the gentleman's story yet. Who knows what actually happened? You know, it could have been him following. He could have been the one stalking. You know, he's the one with the oppressor mentality. Everybody has to do as he says because he's king. And he's also drunk during this time, so he thinks he's king, he's drunk, he's getting crazy. Now he's pulling out a pistol, now he's shooting people. You're undercover. You can't be shooting people over some traffic argument. You got an argument in traffic, and now you're pulling out a pistol? You're undercover. You're not even undercover, you're plain clothes. You're off duty. You're just like anybody. You're just like me. You're just like anybody else out here. You're just like a citizen. When a police officer is off duty, he's a citizen. Okay, so it's ridiculous that, and we'll see how it goes, whether or not he actually gets charged for it or not. Usually they get away with it. Interesting thing that's happened recently, October 10th, posted today, 8 were arrested in LaGrange, Kentucky after investigation. So Louisville, Kentucky, 8 people been arrested in LaGrange. The article is written in Louisville, Kentucky, WDRB. 8 people have been arrested in LaGrange, Kentucky, several in conspiracy to commit murder charges as part of an investigation into drug trafficking and gang activity. All 8 people were arrested at the residence where officers executed a search warrant. So all 8 people was at this house. 22-year-old Thomas Wins of Shelbyville is charged with conspiracy to commit murder, criminal gang recruitment, various other charges. Roger Wilson, Keaton Lee, 19 years old, LaGrange residents, 18-year-old Casey Endicott of Shelbyville were charged with conspiracy to commit murder, engaging in organized crime and other charges. 20-year-old Felix Myers, 22-year-old Donnie Lane, 18-year-old Brandon Davis, 22-year-old Gabriel Breach. All LaGrange faces charges of engaging in organized crime and drug charges. Organized crime? Like what? Jumping a whole house full of people? Is that organized crime? Are you allowed to just go into someone's house and just, you know, just arrest everybody and throw them into prison? I don't know what they did. It sounds speculative. They could very well be a gang and trying to do things. Maybe they've committed, crimes, but they're not saying that they committed any crimes. All they're saying is conspiracy to commit murder. So they intercepted some Facebook messages or some text, and they thought they was going to kill somebody, so they go in and arrest everybody. And also another thing about the article, not the person who wrote the article, their name's not mentioned, right? So it just seems like an ominous corporation putting out the facts. Here's the truth. Well, who wrote it? Nobody wrote the damn thing. And then what about the police? Were there police on the scene? You assume the police ain't just a monolithic, just a group of, unbiased human beings. They're people too. So the police names should be mentioned in all these articles. They never are. The articles in the corporate media pretend like the police are just right. They need a relationship with the police too, right? So they can get all these good stories. And they don't want to alienate, any of the police because they might not get these good stories. But it's still ridiculous. The police were involved. They want to get, somebody for, a criminal to commit murder or intent, for gang activity. That's one of their charges was gang activity. And so, what's gang activity? Is getting a bunch of buddies in your LMPD cars and jumping a house? Does that sound like what a gang would do? It's exactly what a gang would do. So that's gang-like activity. So you also have Bullitt East End coach resigns after arrest on domestic violence charge. Kentucky's like one of the worst states for all types of violence. Animal abuse, elder abuse, spousal abuse, child abuse. We're number one for child deaths and child abuse cases. And so, this coach, this Bullitt East coach, he resigns his coachship. I think he's still working in a school after an arrest on domestic violence charge. So him resigning, it sort of seems like he's saying he's guilty, or maybe they're just saying, I don't know. Okay, let's just, Mount Washington, Kentucky. A special education teacher has resigned. This is written by Joey Brown. So this is a better article. Wave 3, man, Wave 3 is on it. I like Wave 3 stories. They're good. They're not like the Courier Journal or Lexington, Kentucky.com. They're the worst. Herald Leader, they charge for every article that you see. Courier Journal threatens to charge you and usually don't go through with it. Sometimes they block you out of their stuff. And then you got to delete all your cookies and then just start the games again, right? So, but Wave 3, it's always free. It's always available to the public, and there's advertisements here. There's Homes.com, right? So there's LifeLock. Ultimate Enroll in LifeLock Experian to help protect your credit and identity. So there's several, download the Wave 3 news weather app. So there's several advertisements. So advertisements get their money. I'm reading the article. Okay, so special education teachers resigned his position as head basketball coach at Bullitt East High School following his arrest on assault and child endangerment charges, according to a spokesperson for the district. The wife of John Hunt, 38, told police she came home from work on Tuesday to find her husband watching her children while drunk. Hunt's arrest report states his wife asked him to leave and that he followed her into the yard where she told the children to call the police. Hunt's wife said her husband left after grabbing, pushing, and choking her multiple times within close proximity of the children. A short time later, Hunt entered the house through the back door and went upstairs with the rest of the family, according to the arrest report. Police said they arrived on the scene, determined that Hunt was severely intoxicated after consuming a large amount of wine. His wife suffered bruising on one arm. Police said Hunt endangered the welfare of the children by watching them in his intoxicated state because of the physical altercation with his wife. So that actually happened beforehand. He's watching them drunk, but that doesn't mean he's violent or doing anything wrong to him. If he's drunk, that might, I don't know. I'm mixed on this. It's not good parenting. It's not parenting 101. Get drunk, watch your kids. But if you have a beer and your kids are safe and they're not running out, I think you're doing your job. I think you're doing okay. It's all about the safety of the child. If you keep your child safe, whether you have a beer or not, should not matter. But by her confronting him, and I wonder if the situation, escalated once this confrontation had happened. So, that's what you do whenever anybody's in your face and yelling you, just hit your wife and bruise her up. Says he was charged with 4th degree assault, endangering the welfare of a minor, entered not guilty plea on Wednesday, and he's free on a $2,000 bond. Eric Ferris, an attorney for Bullitt County Public Schools, said at this point Hunt would remain a special education teacher at Bullitt East because the charges are not related to his performance at school and the allegations have not been substantiated. Ferris said the district will continue to monitor their case as it proceeds. Hunt was named head basketball coach at Bullitt East in June. Troy Barr, the former coach who was promoted to athletic director in May, will serve as interim coach until Hunt's replacement is found. School leaders plan to explain the situation to parents and players during a meeting at the school Thursday at 7 p.m. So that's interesting. They have a big school-wide meeting about this gentleman. Eric Ferris, the attorney for Bullitt County Public Schools, did exactly what you're supposed to do. Get out in front of it, okay? We acknowledge the situation is happening. We're ongoing. We're seeing what's going on, seeing what takes place, and if there's a problem, we will do something about it. So just having that, jumping out in front of it. I've seen Alicia Smiley of the LMPD. She gets out in a lot of cases, and she comes across as very genuine and honest on the interviews I've seen the media do with her. And again, all these shootings that pointed out, Steve Conrad is not out apologizing about Leon Brackens. Steve Conrad doesn't seem to take any sort of, doesn't feel shameful, doesn't feel bad that his organization murdered a guy. And, the organization, there's going to be bad things and bad apples that happen. And so when something bad happens, if you're a good person, you say, I'm sorry, that's not what we do. We messed up. We're not going to do that like that. Here's how we're going to fix the situation. That's what a good person would do. A bad person pretends like it's not a crime, that murdering an old, feeble, sickle cell anemic black man is okay. Pretend that that's okay. Sweep it under the rug. Lie about it. Never mentioning it, and make sure you put your biggest lawyers on the case. So that way you get no responsibility. No responsibility ever comes down onto you. And that's wrong. That's not a good way to run any type of organization. That's bad PR, and they're supposed to protect and serve us. That's the point of the police, right? To protect and serve the public, even though a lot of times it seems like the public are the police's enemy. Spalding University has an alumni reunion October 11th to 12th, 2013 at 1 p.m. in West Breckenridge Street behind the EGAN Leadership Center. So, that's happening, right? The iconic Kentucky Kingdom coaster opens for the first time in 5 years. This is Wave 3 news again by Sarah Eisenmenger. And I see her name all the time. This is updated today, posted yesterday on the 9th. Fort Knox, Kentucky, a soldier stationed in Fort Knox. Wait. This story changed on me. Or did it? Yeah, it did. Courtney Godfrey is writing about the Kentucky Kingdom coaster opening for the first time in 5 years. And this is posted today. So after sitting still for 5 years, Kentucky Kingdom debuted a renovated version of its classic wooden coaster. Thunder Run was built in 1990, but after the park shut down about 5 years ago, so did all the rides. Many, including the wooden coaster, began to rot and rust. This ride has been ignored for 5 years and probably a little ignored before then, said the park president Ed Hart. With Ed Hart back at the helm, Kentucky Kingdom has been undergoing major renovations. Ed Hart admits the park was in bad shape and needed a lot of work, but for months they've been painting, replacing, and rebuilding. Thursday just showed off some of the hard work. So one of their coasters is backing up and running, right? Thunder Run. So an old wooden coaster. It looks like the Kings Island's The Beast. I don't know if it's as exciting and smooth and rocky and well constructed as The Beast. Fort Knox soldier killed supporting Operation Enduring Freedom. Okay, so a Fort Knox soldier has been killed in Kentucky. Sarah Eisenmenger, October 10th. It was updated and it was posted yesterday. Fort Knox, Kentucky. A soldier stationed in Fort Knox, Kentucky lost his life during his first deployment supporting Operation Enduring Freedom on Saturday. According to the U.S. Department of Defense, Special Angel Lieutenant Lopez, Angel Lopez, 27, of Parma, Ohio, died from wounds he suffered when enemy forces attacked his unit with small arms fire in Zabul province, Afghanistan. So this Ohio resident was slain because the Afghanistan war is still going on for, now 12 years. 12 years? This is clearly the most important war America's ever been in, because it's longer than the Civil War, longer than the Revolutionary War, longer than, World War II. So war on Afghanistan is the most important war in American foreign policy. War on Afghanistan is what sunk the Soviet Union, and we're doing the exact same thing, and we're just draining our resources. Meanwhile, we got, no money for health care here, which is ridiculous. For every bomb that we spend, we're taking bread and food and water and education and health care out of our children's mouth. So we need to end the war. End all the wars. End the drug wars, class wars, and empire wars. Sergeant Lopez was the first soldier to be killed during deployment. Remembrance ceremony will be held in Afghanistan on Tuesday, and Fort Knox will also have something going on.